Arsenal 4, Leicester 2. This is hit and misses. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome to She Knows Arsenal. My name is Jessica. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter at Justino Tweets and at She Knows Arsenal. Welcome to Hits and Misses. This is going to be the reshuffled whatever match preview or match review because like I told you guys, I'll be doing Arsenal, match reviews for the Football Terrace. So I want to be able to give you guys my kind of instant reaction in a pre-recorded form where you guys can let me know in the comment section what you think, and then go ahead and do something a little bit longer form the next day or like Monday or whatever. So don't fret. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty on another day, but today I just want to give you my hits and my misses for this particular game. Arsenal beat Leicester 4-2 at the Emirates, and I have to say that for me, that was the best attacking performance that Arsenal have ever had under Mikel Arteta. We've had some bits and pieces. We've had some games where our build-up play was good, but we were putting them under significant pressure, and we look like a team that could score at any moment. Now, Leicester are really bad at the back, but I do think that we did that thing where it was like, the best type of defense is offense. You know what I mean? So instead of just going into a low block when the game went to 2-1, we decided to attack them again and then went up 3-1. So we have the ability now, and I think that this is really important. And Souls made this point in our group chat that it's really important for this team to learn how to deal with adversity and when teams come back into games and score goals, because these things happen, that we can score more goals and still win the game and not just go into a low block. So I think that was I was like, this is exactly what this team needed. We needed to go away from home to a difficult opposition that kind of has our number and win that game, and also come home, play against another difficult opponent, and kind of have it mixed up a little bit. I think if it was just a regular 2-0, we may not have gotten that experience. So I really loved the performance today. I thought there were a lot of exceptional performances today, some that were a little middle of the road, but when six of your players are playing really, really well, you can absorb the other four, or so, or seven players absorb the three, or whatever it is. So I think that's what good teams do. And we look like a very, very strong team today from start to finish, including the substitutions. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me just pull up my little notes here. Let's see. I just had to make sure. Okay, so my first hit is going to be box to box Granit Xhaka. Now, before you guys say, well, Jess, you don't like Granit Xhaka, here's the thing about me. If he plays well, I'm going to say it. And I do think that Arteta has helped him unlock a little bit more of that box to box ability that he could have. He's been playing in a double pivot for years at Arsenal, but when he first came in, he was a little bit more of like a number 10. He tried to do a little bit more of the offensive work, and as time went on, he got dropped further and further back. But this performance by Granit Xhaka, I do think, was like as good as he could do in that left 8 position. I thought that, first of all, Arsenal were playing with free 8s. Not 3/8, free 8s. So instead of what we usually kind of see, which is kind of like more like this, it was more like Odegaard and Xhaka up here and Thomas Partey on his own, which is a little bit of a shift from what we played last season. Xhaka did still drop back and make sure that he defended, but when we were in the attack, Xhaka was pushed right up. And so we're growing and we're changing and we're doing different things. And I think Xhaka really adapted to that position well today. He got a goal. He was getting into those advanced positions. He could have scored on the back post with a header. And I thought, the combination play that we were doing, he was good in that. He was just very, very good today. And so I think, although he wasn't my man of the match, I do think he had a man of the match level performance. And so, yeah, I mean, he's really making a play and making a push for that position, which I do think makes the requirements for anybody coming in a lot higher for that position, because if this is what Granit Xhaka can do in this position, the person coming in that could potentially take that spot has got to take it to the next level. And that will also be something that we touch on when we get into my misses. So my first hit is box to box Granit Xhaka. He had an excellent performance today. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. My second hit is Gabriel Jesus. 2 goals, could have scored 5, off the mark. Rivals were waiting for him to have a goalless game today where they could start asking questions around, is he going to flop or whatever. That boy was insane today. I mean, the pressing, if he would have scored that goal when he ran over Johnny Evans, I just think I would have like passed out, because that was absolutely insane. The first goal was great. The second goal on the back post header was great. He just has the ability to kind of be in the right place at the right time. And he has that striker's kind of like nous for where to be. But he's also technically gifted. He's intense. He's sharp. And I just think he's really made our attack look a lot more devastating than it did last season when we were just playing with Lacazette. He was scintillating today. And I also think he's just bringing up the level of the players around him. I do think Granit has looked better since he's been in there. I think Martinelli has looked better since he's been in there. And that says a lot. He was here, there, and everywhere. He was central. He was left. He was right. He was everywhere. He was deep. He was so fun to watch today. And I do think that there is legs to this idea that maybe Pep's system has held Gabriel Jesus back. The guy is, when he left Brazil and came to Manchester City and played in England, like the guy was like not a typical Brazilian player where he had like all this flair, but he had the efficiency and the sharpness, but also the flair and all that kind of stuff. A very complete player. And he kind of lost a little bit of that at Manchester City. And I like that Arteta is bringing that Gabriel Jesus out of him. So I think he was so exceptional today. And so he's my other hit. And my third and final hit is, once it pops up on my phone, the reaction to the own goal from William Saliba. For me, that was one of the most comforting things that could have happened. You guys know that I spoke about this in my preview, is that William Saliba is going to make mistakes and we have to be prepared for it and not do him like we've done players in the past. Players make mistakes, and if you want them to rebound from them, we have to be behind them. And he's a young player, and we shouldn't be putting him on the same pedestal as players that are 8, 9 years ahead of him. Recognize that he's young, 21, adapting to a new league. And even though he is an amazing talent and 100% is like, if he stays fit and continues to go in this trajectory, he's going to be a world-class center back. But at the moment, he's still a young player. And so I just feel like the own goal on any other day that goes on the outside of the post, I don't think he did much wrong. It was kind of clumsy and a little bit unlucky. And yes, rivals made a meal out of it, but he was so good beyond that. He didn't put any foot wrong beyond that. And so the guy that scored the own goal looked like the 80 million pound center back. And the guy on the other side looked like he needs to go, or he needs to stay at Leicester, and Wesley Fofana. Saliba made him look so inferior. He was getting toasted by Martinelli. So yeah, like, I think Saliba had an excellent game, but what I liked was the reception from the fans and how they clapped him and they just kind of like let it go. There wasn't like that weird silence, so he could just quickly move on from it. And one of the most impressive things about William Saliba being so young is he made such a, not a big mistake, but he made a mistake that could have made him really like shaky, but he looked even stronger after that. And so he didn't stop tackling. He didn't, he wasn't stumbling on the ball. He just looked like the same Saliba. And I think what also helped was that we were so dominant and good in that game that we scored a goal right after that happened. And so he could just really just forget about it. And so for me, like, that the reception that the fans gave Saliba after the own goal was something that I haven't seen from Arsenal fans in a long, long time. And I think it's a testament to how the fans feel about this group and also about how much they love William Saliba. So I absolutely love that as well. Now, getting on to the misses, there's not a lot of them because I do think that we were pretty good. Obviously, there were some performances that weren't as good as others, and the one that I'm going to kind of pull out of the group is Ramsdale. I think we've seen this from him over the last 2 seasons, and I'm starting to feel like this might be a pattern for him, is that easy saves or saves that should be kind of run of the mill end up being goals with Ramsdale. If you look back to Liverpool at home, both of those goals were in on his front post. When you look today, that ball for Madison, yes, he was in close range and he hit the ball hard, but it went through his legs. And so Ramsdale, he tends to be able to do the spectacular, but not be able to do the simple things. And that kind of coupled up with the shakiness on the ball sometimes and just adding that kind of like shakiness to the back line, he really needs to sharpen up a little bit more. For me, he's somebody I'm really looking at as a player that I love, but needs to be able to uh, transfer calmness onto the back line because we have some players back there. One in particular who I do think kind of absorbs the shakiness from Ramsdale. So I do think that his performance was because of that goal that he gave up was in question. Where I think if he had not given that up, I wouldn't even looked at his performance, if that makes sense. Because Leicester didn't have a lot of chances. The commentators that I was listening to were trying to make it seem like if Leicester had scored all those chances that they had, they would have won the game. But had we had scored all of our chances, it would have been a blowout. So it wasn't close, but on a day like if we were only 1-0 up and Madison goes through, I need Ramsdale to save that. I really need him to save that. So that was pretty disappointing. But again, we could absorb that below average performance from Ramsdale because everybody else was playing so well. My other miss was Arteta's substitution times. So I thought when the second goal went in that I could sense a little bit of a flatness with the team. I thought, Leicester had put in their subs around the 60th minute and I put out a tweet, should we not be subbing now? We did not sub until like the 70 something minute right after we got scored upon. And I don't think Zinchenko was like dead on his feet, but Zinchenko is not 100% right now. So I do think that the Tierney sub probably could have came a little bit earlier, especially because Leicester seemed to be a lot more on the attack because they changed their formation. And so they went right down our left hand side, which had been doing a lot of running, a lot of up and down, and Zinchenko kind of got beat. Gabriel got beat. And then I just feel like if we had put in Tierney a little bit earlier, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Or if we had just introduced like Nketiah or somebody else just to keep things fresh. So what I'm really looking at for Arteta is how does he utilize these 5 subs? Does he rotate the team ahead of time, so that we're not kind of being reactionary, but we're being like, preparing for things before they happen. So I think that goal might have been preventable. But again, that's just me from what I saw. There's some people that don't feel that way, and I fully respect that. But for me, like, I think we should have made those substitutions a little bit earlier, very similarly to how we didn't substitute early enough, in my opinion, against Crystal Palace. Arteta seems to get really cozy with the group that he has out there and with 5 subs and the players that we have coming off the bench, which by the way, looked really good coming off the bench. Tierney, Tommy, and Nketiah looked excellent off the bench. So, use those players, use them to your advantage. Use these 5 subs. It's hot. It's hot. These it's hot. They're tired. It's very early on in the season. Use them, So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that because that may be a little bit controversial. Maybe you don't feel like the goal had anything to do with, maybe a little bit of flatness in the team, but opinions are opinions, right? And so my final miss is going to be Tielemans' audition for Arsenal. I do think that he was very like he was like a ghost. It was a ghost-like performance for him. And I think that Leicester is a good side. I think there is also this tendency, especially from rivals, to go from Leicester going to beat you to their crap. And they're not crap. We're better than them, but they're the type of team that can really hurt you because of the players that they have in attack in Vardy, in Madison, Tielemans, and those players that they have in those attacking positions. And so I either thought it was going to be one or the other. Tielemans was going to have a masterclass against us or a disaster class. It was neither. It was a Casper-like performance where he kind of just passed sideways and backwards, didn't really do much, and I don't know if he was trying not to get injured or, he's just over it, just kind of down tools a little bit, but he did not look great. And when you let Granit Xhaka dunk on you like that in a position that you could potentially be playing for us, it does make me question whether or not we need to look a little bit higher in regards to that position. Now, Tielemans, clearly wants to move, and I do think that he would add a lot of quality to this team. But yeah, that performance was not great. So that was definitely a big miss for today. And I have to be honest, like I'm kind of glad that he wasn't good, because if he had been clicking and Madison clicking and all that kind of stuff, they would have been a lot more difficult to beat. But yeah, he got hooked, and I don't think Brendan Rodgers was wrong for doing it, because he was not very good and he just didn't have any say on that game whatsoever. And I love that the Arsenal fans in the stands were saying, like, we'll see you next week and all this kind of stuff, because we know he wants to move. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. If you like this structure, the way that I did it, so we can kind of run through the hits and the misses, or the summary of the game without it running on too long. It's about 15 minutes. So I think this is about the sweet spot for something like this. And also get in the comments and let me know exactly what your 3 hits and 3 misses are, because I would love to see if I maybe missed something. I know people are going to bring up Martinelli. I just thought, because it was Jesus's kind of like opening up the scoring for himself, I did think I wanted to put him in there. I couldn't not say something about Granit Xhaka, and I needed to say something about Saliba's own goal. So I didn't have space in the 3, but if you want to say something about Martinelli, let me know. This has been Hits and Misses. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.